Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're diving into a diary that tracks the brutal, entirely unfiltered reality behind trying to lose weight in a single week. We're going to strip away the toxic diet culture and those extreme starvation tactics flooding our social feeds, and we're looking at exactly what happens to a human body, day by day, when you actually try to pull this off. So, let's jump right in.
We've all been there, right? It's 2 a.m., you have a big event coming up, and you're frantically Googling how to lose weight in a week. But instead of starving or trying some ridiculous gimmick, we're exploring a meticulously detailed 7-day diary to track what is genuinely, biologically realistic. We have the data on everything, exactly what was eaten, how the body moved, and crucially, the psychological toll it took.
Now, to set a true baseline, the rules for this 7-day experiment had to be strict right from the start. Absolutely no dangerous shortcuts, and no so-called detox teas that literally just make you live in the bathroom. Just honest methods. We had to sidestep those diet industry traps that promise the world but honestly just wreck your metabolism. We established a baseline of pure, unadulterated honesty.
Kicking things off on day one, well, it was surprisingly easy. The major change was simply cutting out sugary drinks and processed snacks completely in favor of water and whole foods. When you're riding that initial wave of adrenaline and motivation, ditching the junk feels super empowering. But as we all know, the honeymoon phase of a diet is famously short-lived, isn't it?
Because by day 2, the cravings hit like an absolute freight train. Your brain suddenly realizes that the constant drip of easy dopamine and sugar is gone, and it throws a full-on physiological temper tantrum. Severe cravings set in. Realistically, this 48-hour mark is exactly the breaking point where most people throw in the towel, simply because sheer willpower just runs out.
But here's the thing. The secret to surviving those day 2 cravings wasn't just gritting your teeth through starvation. It was strategic volume eating, making crucial small daily swaps, like trading white rice, fries, and soda for brown rice, roasted veggies, and lemon water completely changes the game. You keep the physical volume of food high to trick your stomach, but the caloric density and nutritional profile entirely shift.
Even with those smart swaps, by days 3 and 4, we hit the dreaded wall. A super frustrating plateau where the scale absolutely refused to budge. Putting in days of clean eating only to step on the scale and see zero change is incredibly disheartening. It's the silent killer of diets, and it's exactly what those flashy online transformation videos conveniently edit right out.
Which brings us to a massive reality check that nobody shows you online. Progress is absolutely never a straight line downward. It's messy. Your body weight fluctuates wildly based on hydration, digestion, and even the stress hormone cortisol from worrying about the diet itself. If you only chase that downward line on the graph, you're gonna drive yourself crazy.
And this is exactly why we have to look past the numbers. Because despite that stubborn scale, incredible non-scale victories started emerging in the diary. Energy naturally spiked because the body stopped riding the sugar roller coaster. Bloating just vanished, and suddenly clothes felt completely different. The body's internal composition was proving it was indeed changing, even if gravity hadn't quite caught on yet.
To build on that momentum on day 4, the addition wasn't some grueling 2-hour boot camp. Actually, scratch that. It was way simpler. Just a brief 20 to 30 minutes of walking. Increasing that non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, is a low-stress way to effortlessly accelerate progress, melting away inches without severely spiking your appetite before the scale even catches up.
All right, let's transition into days 5 and 6 where the initial shock to the system completely fades. The narrative shifts heavily away from just surviving the restriction and moves towards fueling the body and prioritizing recovery. At this point, the body is actually adapting to the new normal.
But that adaptation requires a really solid meal strategy. By locking in protein and fiber at every single meal, we're talking things like eggs, lentils, chicken, and greens, you slow down digestion. The resulting fullness throughout the day becomes the biggest natural defense mechanism against the ultimate diet killer, those late-night pantry raids.
Alongside the food, the diary revealed another completely non-negotiable metric, prioritizing this specific number, 7 or more hours of sleep. We so often treat sleep as an optional luxury, right? Like a reward for getting everything else done. But in reality, it is the absolute foundational pillar holding up this entire process.
And here is exactly why sleep matters so much. It's all about your hunger hormones. A lack of rest completely scrambles your body's vital chemical messengers. Poor sleep spikes ghrelin, the hormone that makes you ravenous, and it plummets leptin, the hormone that tells you you're full.
You literally wake up biologically wired to overeat, no matter how strong your willpower is.
So after navigating the cravings, dialing in the sleep, and balancing the nutrition, we finally arrive at day 7. This is the climax of our chronological diary and the moment to reveal the final results of this week-long reality check.
So, what did the numbers actually say? Well, while the experiment undeniably resulted in feeling lighter, significantly less bloated, and deeply in control of daily habits, we have to look closely and honestly at what the drop on the scale actually represents.
Because the ultimate truth of the week is this. The vast majority of that weight change, it's entirely water weight and a reduction in bloating, mostly from depleting your glycogen stores. Only a tiny sliver is actual fat loss. The harsh reality is that the vast majority of week 1 scale drops are just fluid, not real fat.
Which brings us to the core takeaway of this entire explainer. The real victory is what you do after day 7. Biologically speaking, real noticeable fat loss takes significantly longer than a single week. The 7-day experiment isn't a magic cure-all. Honestly, it's more of an honest, incredibly effective habit reset to clear the slate.
So knowing that true consistency is the only real path forward, here is the question we want to leave you with. Will you take this 7-day foundation and carry these habits into the next 30 days? Can you lose weight in a week? Yes, but it's just the starting line. Real transformation requires time. Subscribe, join us, and let's see what genuine results look like after a full month. The challenge is yours.